Okay, so we now arrive at this fourth point, caring labor. And this is a divide. And if it looks like a binary, it actually is one. Because it isn't natural. This isn't something that we protect and nurture. And the divide I'm making here is between killing and caring labor. So there's killing labor and there's caring labor. It's just not that complex. On the killing side, we engage in activities that support and make possible armed conflict across the globe, one way or another. We actively perpetuate military solutions, and I keep putting words in air quotes here because basically people will talk about, well, there's a military solution. It's like, what kind of solution is that, really? Like, it's not necessarily so much a solution as a way of going at something. Whether it's a solution or not is a solution suggests that there's a fix coming. It's like, we've got a solution for that. No. So we actively perpetuate military solutions to all kinds of problems and take money away from other things in order to pay for war. There's only so much money to go around, and so what we'll say is, well, we need the money for other things. Sorry about the medical system. Sorry that everybody has to go broke paying for every university education. That's too bad. But sucks to be you, and everybody else who's wealthy made it, so you can too. And if you can't, well, there's always jobs at Starbucks. It's like, well, hold on a second. Maybe we could pay for school. Maybe we could all decide that children must have higher education. In fact, the whole country should have higher education if it's going to function. One form or another. It doesn't all have to look like university. It may all look like, say, advanced trades. It may be things like computer coding. But having people work in call centers for the rest of their lives is not in any way sustainable or humane, or it's just an awful, awful way to live. It's like, no. I mean, why? No, So, well, how much does it cost to pay for war at the moment? Roughly, and these numbers are now a few years old, so roughly 1.7 to $2 trillion a year is what we spend on war. And we've been paying for war at that rate since before Waring wrote her book. So in constant 2020 dollars, we've been paying about $2 trillion for war since the mid-1980s. That is a lot of money, right? What could we have done with that money? Right? So on the caring side, we could, for instance, invest in educations for the world's population for free, make sure people have clean water, end famine. But let me give you an example here of Helen Caldicott. Ironically, another person from, she's another New Zealander. Yeah, I think that's right. Geez, or is she Australian? So here's Helen Caldicott to talk about what we could do with some of this money. Now, these numbers are from 2003. Although we are now spending, as I say, between 1.7 and $2 trillion a year globally. In 2003, as you can see by this slide here, the world annual military spending was calculated at $780 billion. Okay. So the question is, what if we took just some of that money? And it's not as though you have to take that same amount of money that I'm going to talk about every year. You need to take it in the first year. Okay, just to be clear about that. What could we do what if we had not a blank check, but that kind of thing? What if we said, okay, well, let's take care of things. First let's put everything else first, and let's put military last. Like, what if we did that? You know, what a concept, right? Okay, so what could we do? Well, we could provide global health care. And that means everybody would actually get full health care. It wouldn't just be the United States or a first world country or something like that. First world country. So I apologize. We could eliminate starvation and malnutrition. And these are global solutions. Like, so worldwide, we could do this. Okay? We would provide clean water and shelter for all. And it doesn't mean that people would be left out in some country where I mean, in this particular formulation, we would be able to get to these communities and provide these services, or have them, which is always better, have them produce the infrastructure and so on. Okay. Remove landmines. This is a major issue. Eliminate nuclear weapons. Very important. And that it takes a lot of work, actually, believe it or not. Stop deforestation, as we know, critical. Prevent global warming, same thing. Prevent ozone depletion and acid rain. These are the early struggles with what became known as climate shift, climate change, was ozone depletion and the acidification of rain, which kills lakes and destroys ecosystems and so on. Retire all debt for quote unquote developing nations. That is just, so if you've got a nation like, say, Brazil, and it's crippled by debt, and the UN and a number of countries are holding its debt, and you say, okay, here, you're paid. You pay them. Take this money that you've been spending on weapons and you pay off the UN and say, that's it. We're paying you for Brazil. Their slate is clean, whatever it is. Prevent soil erosion worldwide. And again, this has to do with deforestation, same issue. But these are really, they tend to be hidden under, the whole of climate shift. It's like, whoa, that's, that's too big to even describe. Produce safe, clean energy. So this means non-nuclear energy, not coal, not oil, not fossil fuel, limited resources, and so on. Stop overpopulation. Okay, so that means you're not just fighting for Planned Parenthood in the United States, but everybody is getting this. Right? End illiteracy worldwide. The cost of all this, now remember that the budget at the time was, what did I say? It was $780 billion, okay? So out of that, to do this in 1 year, you would have to spend $237 billion, which would leave over just about twice that, right? $542 billion would remain in your pool of money of $780 billion. Spend $780 billion you spend on military. Well, take a third of it in 1 year, just 1 year, and do all this stuff. Like, that's the cost calculated in 2003, when we were in the middle of two very expensive wars, at the beginning of two very expensive wars. And you would still have lots of money to do all the other paranoid stuff you want to do. But as far as we're concerned, and as far as the governments are concerned, this is crazy talk. Okay, these are the numbers that I wanted you to see, which are based in Helen Caldicott's readings, and the thinking originates with Marilyn Waring. Although Caldicott has been engaged in this work for a long, long time, and she was on the scene as a medical doctor well before Waring came along. Okay. Now, I use this same discussion from Caldicott in Killer Culture because it must be heard and heard again. I mean, it has to be heard repeatedly, because I don't just want a few people exposed to this. I mean, I would like to expose as many people as we possibly can who would be who would be listen, at least prepared to listen. It's like you don't have to agree with it, you don't have to buy it. You can say, no, I don't buy these numbers, Tim. It's like, fine, that's fine. Research it, look it up, but at least listen to it. But apparently we don't think it's possible. And apparently if we think that if we stop killing labor and we start carrying labor, that it's not going to work out. It's just not going to work. Well, if we stop killing labor and we start carrying labor, we should still have some money to play with. So what does that mean for each of us? Each of us now in this virtual room of ours. So now you're sitting watching me, and so just listen to me. Just be with me for a minute, okay? Just stop taking notes and just think with me for a second, as if we were in the room together. What would our values be if we chose not just for us? Not just for, what if I chose things not based on me first? What if I gave up things? I know you think I'm coming for your favorite things, but I promise you I'm not. We feel, I think, that if we to give up this life that we have, this world right here, right now, you and me, right, just talking, that we'll get something lousier and poorer and worse in exchange. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to have color in it, or maybe there won't be an exchange. We'll just lose. We just won't get to do things that we wanted to do. We won't have an enjoyable life. We'll just have right? Okay. So let me give you this example. Okay, so here's a little story, and this has stayed with me for, I don't know, at least 10 years now. A number of years ago, we had a really smart grad student here. It was a doctoral student, and he taught a class on weddings and the media, which is, I only ever heard about it. And a number of the students, I taught a class. What the heck is that? Hang on